Hey there, welcome or welcome back to my channel, Diana and the Book Hunt. Today I am happy to share with you my very first official reading vlog that I have just recorded. The past couple of days I read 3 books off of a series. Unfortunately, the 4th book is not available to me on audio yet, so I didn't read the full series, but I did manage 3 books within the Twisted series by Ana Huang. It's Twisted Love, Twisted Games, and Twisted Hate. I always mix them up. So I read all 3 books consecutively. I binged them all, and I would love to share my thoughts with you on all that I read and which one I loved the most. So stay tuned, take a look at my thoughts, and I hope you like this one.
Good evening, everyone. Let me just do a very quick update as to how far along I've gotten into Twisted Love by Ana Huang. I am about 20-ish% into the book, just over 20%, and I've gotten to know Alex Volkov and also Ava a little bit, the 2 main characters within the book. I didn't know about this book that the main trope will be brother's best friend. And I have to say that out of all the tropes in romance, this is probably my least favorite one. But for the first time that I'm reading a romance with this trope, I'm not too bothered by it yet. Let's see how far we'll come before I get bothered by that trope. What I've found out is that Alex Volkov, he is this, I believe, second or third generation Ukrainian guy who lives in the States, and he has lost his family tragically, and he is looking for revenge. In the meantime, we also find out that he has a very specific type of photographic memory. So he has this very high IQ. He has developed some kind of a company which has gone to a multi-millionaire status already when he was in his teens. So this is what we know about Alex in terms of his past and also part of his present. What we also find out is that he's a bit brooding, he's a bit cynical, he's a bit a bit grumpy, not too communicative, kind of a quiet guy. And also, we find out that he's very possessive over the main heroine. In the beginning, maybe possibly because he's protective over her because she is his best friend's sister. But also, in the meantime, we are already seeing kind of hints that he has other. At the moment, there are still fantasies about her. The main heroine, Ava, on the other hand, she is this sunshiny type of character. She is very outgoing. She has a friend circle. She is modeling and is interested in photography. She has a very good relationship with her brother, Josh. And Josh, he has left the country for his work for I think a year or so. So what he does is he tasks Alex with being Ava's neighbor so that he can kind of watch out for her. And this is basically where we're at this point within the book. I'm enjoying it. I'm flying through it. I just started it a couple of hours ago and I'm already almost 2 hours in. And I'm really curious to see how it will develop and whether this trope um, will be the curse that will impact my enjoyment of the book, or whether I'm going to break the curse once and for all and find the book that I actually like with this trope. So I'm very curious about that. And because I've told you already that I'm going into these books, the series blind, I didn't know or don't still actually know, I cannot confirm whose books are going to follow, but I do suspect that Josh is going to get a book and possibly her, so Ava's best friends, Bridget and Jules, I think they're going to get books. So yeah, I'm curious to find out whether my suspicion, whether my prediction is correct when I get to the other books. This is it for now. I'll update you once I'm further into the book. Probably maybe way past the 50% mark, because I'm still going to have to read the other two books and I don't want to make this video too long. So I'll just update you when I update you. I'll see you later. Have a good night. Hey there, and welcome to another update on my reading progress with Twisted Love by Ana Huang. I am about 65% into the book. And the last time that you saw me, I told you that I'm not exactly sure how this book is going to work out for me, because it's a brother's best friend book, and that trope is typically my least favorite trope within books. But I do have to say that the trope is done in a way that does not bother me, which I'm very surprised by, because typically I haven't yet found a book with that trope that works out well for me. I think that the author did a very, very good job with not spinning that trope as the most important one within the book. Obviously, Ava's brother Josh is not happy that Alex is the person that his sister chose for herself, but they're adults and they make their own decisions, and that's how it should be in real life as well. Everyone is entitled to fall in love, and you can't help but falling in love sometimes with people you've grown up with, which in Alex and Ava's cases, yeah, they've spent time together already since they were young, so it's quite natural. And that's usually what bothers me with this trope, that we get this extremely overprotective brother who does not understand how his best friend can deflower or kind of violate his sister. I'm not there for that reasoning. So I'm really happy that this book didn't fall into this trap. If you're hearing something, there's fireworks outside. I apologize. So yeah, it's working out well for me, the trope. What we found out in the meantime is that Ava, she's suffering these night terrors because of things that have happened to her when she was a child. She believes that she was pushed into the water when she was about 5 years old by her mother in an attempt to kill her. And then her mother committed suicide by overdose, and she has always had this trauma with swimming, with water, fright of water. And this is something that is very close to my heart, because I've had a similar trauma, not the same obviously, but I was pushed into water when I couldn't swim when I was a child. So I've always had a bit of a fright of water, and I'm panicking when I'm no longer in the shallow end of the pool or in the sea. So I very well recognize myself in the situations that Ava was in. And the way that Alex was handling her trauma and her fright of water, I was so there for it. I absolutely love the main character's struggle, so Ava's struggle. And then I love Alex's approach to her overcoming her trauma. So I absolutely love that aspect of the book. And I'm really shipping for Alex now more than ever, because of his attitude towards Ava in general. He's very overprotective. I don't typically like too overprotective guys, but in this situation, it's just done so well that I can definitely appreciate it. And then we also find out that Alex, his family was murdered by his father's main rival, like a company rival or something. And Alex has been plotting this revenge scheme almost his entire life. And I'm at this point where Alex is meeting with his uncle, and his uncle is kind of disappointed that Alex is not kind of pushing through the revenge scheme, that he's kind of getting soft. probably because he's been hanging out with Ava too much. And Ava, just by the way, told him that she loves him. So that is something that we're getting really a pickup of how their relationship is progressing. Alex obviously is a commitment phobe, so he is not happy with hearing those words. He's more afraid of hearing those words. So let's see how this will kind of evolve. One more thing that we find out is that during her Thanksgiving trip to her father's home, she remembers that it's not actually her mother who pushed her into the water as a child, but her father. And she also remembers another instance of when her father um, tried to kill her. Basically, he tried to suffocate her. And I kind of predicted this a bit earlier on, that the father has some kind of a darker role. And I don't know how I knew, I just had this premonition about it. And basically, Alex takes care of that as well. He invites Michael, her father, her father to the office, but we find out that he's not her father. This is the thing that I kind of suspected. Basically, Ava's mother cheated on Michael, on Josh's dad, and he kind of always hated Ava for it because she reminded him so much of this kind of infidelity that his wife had. And during this meeting that Alex arranged, he admitted to everything, and Alex made sure that he got arrested and that he's going to be left with nothing. So this is also something that we find out about Ava's background and her life story. So yeah, we now know that Josh is his biological son, but Ava isn't. We don't know who Ava's dad is. And Josh is on board with everything. He heard the whole admission that Michael did, so he knows that Ava is not at fault and that Michael has done all these horrible things to his sister, basically. So yeah, this is also something that we know in the meantime. And the last thing that I did notice is that I think that Bridget will be probably the next main female character of the next book. And I think she's going to have a romance with her new bodyguard. This kind of becomes obvious because they're kind of fighting back and forth. So it's going to be kind of an enemies to lovers situation, I think. At least this is what I assume. Let's see if I'm right when I start the second book. What else that I noticed? Yeah, so Josh is going to be an interesting character to focus on. Let's see how his story will evolve. I think he's going to get a story for sure. And yeah, I can't wait to see how this story will end. I'll probably update you the next time when I actually finish this book, and I'll tell you what I thought about it after I finish it.
Hey there, and welcome to another update on my Twisted series progress with the reading vlog. I finished yesterday Twisted Love and I gave it 4 stars. I liked it, I really did, but I can't say that I really loved it or that it's going to be part of my all-time favorite books. So yeah, I don't know where we finished off the last time that I updated you, to be honest. What we found out is that, I think I know where we left off. What we found out is that Alex thought his whole life that Michael, basically Josh's dad, and what everyone assumed was also Ava's dad, was at fault for his family dying. But he actually found out that it was his uncle who had an affair with, or I don't know if he had an affair or whether he was just in love with his mom, with Alex's mom. So yeah, he was basically jealous that his mom chose for Ivan's brother, basically Alex's dad, and not for himself. So he decided to take something that his brother loves, and he killed Alex's mom, dad, and sister. Now, he needed to blame someone for the murder and to kind of use Alex's intelligence for his own benefit. So he kind of spun this tale that Michael is at fault for everything. So Alex had this whole revenge plan to try to get back at Michael, first damaging his career, and then eventually he also got arrested. So when Alex found out that this is the case, he set in motion a situation where he can dethrone Ivan from his own company. But then Ivan found out that Alex knows about the whole situation, so he kidnapped Ava and Bridget. When he did that, he forced Alex to admit everything to Ava. And because Alex felt like it's better for Ava to hate him, and he basically felt like he didn't deserve her, so he kind of admitted everything to her, and then kind of let her go and let her hate him for what he did. So yeah, basically this is where we have the situation with Alex's backstory wrap up, because eventually Alex kills Ivan and the person who kidnapped Ava and Bridget, but then he just lost Ava in the process. Ava, she kind of went on to overwin her trauma with swimming and fear of flight over water, and she applied for this program, for this exchange program, where she can go to London abroad for a year to do this project for her photography with her kind of her idol. So she moved to London, and when she moved to London, Bridget takes it upon herself to explain to Alex that he should try to win her back. So he kind of leaves his whole situation in the States and goes to London to try and win her back. He needs to do some major groveling and some major kind of proving of himself that he deserves her. So he really takes his time. He does a lot of sweet things for her and really takes his time, I mean months and months and months, to try and win her back. He also sings for her at this event where she is selling her first works, and obviously he buys all of her works as well, which I thought was exceptionally sweet for someone who is such a stoic and kind of distant character. The only thing that I really would have wanted to know is which song he sang for her. I would have liked for the author to pick a song where we can kind of relate as readers why he picked this specific song and how it's going to be their song for the book. But that didn't happen, which I'm sorry for. And oh my gosh, there is a bit of a lot of reflection in my glasses. I apologize. It's just that when I'm working, it's my lunch break now. When I'm working, I don't wear contacts at all because my eyes dry out. So sorry for the situation here. Regardless, he grovels enough basically, and they get back together in the end. Like I mentioned, I liked the story. I really did. It was something that I kind of wrapped up in a couple of hours. I was immersed in the story, so I really liked it, but it just missed a couple of things for me. Maybe it didn't miss, but maybe things were included that are not my favorite things. Like I mentioned before, the brother's best friend trope is not my favorite. I did like the aspect of all of the different types of trauma that both of the characters had to overcome and did overcome in the end. But yeah, overall it was a solid 4.25 star read. Yesterday I managed to squeeze in a couple of hours of listening of the second book, which is Twisted Games, I want to say. Is it Twisted Games or Twisted Date? I really mixed them up the whole time. Bridget's a Story, book number 2. I'm about 20% into the book, and like I predicted, the story is going to be focusing on Bridget and her bodyguard, Reese. Already in the first book, we found out that something has happened because Bridget is basically a princess who is the second in line to become the queen. So she assumes that she's not going to get that position because her brother is going to be king. But her brother chooses his love over his position, and he doesn't want to become king, which means that she's going to need to become queen. But this comes with certain responsibilities, obviously. This we find out already in the first book, just as a short snippet. In the end, I think in the epilogue. Now, in the book itself, the first 20%, we're kind of getting a hold of how the two characters get to meet each other, what kind of impression they have of each other, how their relationship progresses. In the beginning, both of them are really attracted to one another, but because Reese is kind of very dominant in his opinion of protection, really taking his job very, very seriously, Bridget is a bit put off by that whole situation because she's always looking to be free, to get some freedom, and she doesn't get that at all, especially because he is the type of person who sees danger at every single corner, which is something that I'm not fully on board with. I mean, I do get that it's a serious situation. She's a very important person, but he was really like seeing danger at every single corner, if you get what I'm saying. Anyway, so we get situations where Bridget kind of tries to go against the grain with him, to try to provoke him to give her more freedom. They strike a deal that she needs to go a couple of months doing exactly what he says, and he also puts her in specific situations to kind of wear a bulletproof vest when shopping, and just not going to specific festivals where she wanted to go, but really she needed to listen to him to prove that she can be trusted. And then he promised to lay off and kind of give her more freedom. So I'm at the point where they're almost done with this whole situation. So in the meantime, he has really gotten to trust her, to respect her. He has done some really sweet things for her to prove that he's also a decent guy. Like when she couldn't go to the festival, he arranged, I'm sorry, I did something to the phone. He did something really sweet, like organize an in-house festival for her so that she can enjoy the experience even though she's not there. So he's really proving to be a very decent guy. They get to know each other a little bit. They play a game where she's asking him questions about himself so she can get to know him. So we really find out that they do have an immense attraction towards each other, and they do feel like both of them, for obvious reasons, feel conflicted because they're boss and employee. But we do see that there's also a bit of playful banter where they're kind of testing the limits. So I'm very curious about how that's going to work out. I haven't read very many bodyguard romances, and I'm just going to see how this one goes to see whether it's going to be for me, this trope, whether it's something that I'm really, really going to enjoy or something that's going to have triggers for me that will let me know that I have some kind of pet peeve towards it. But until now, 20% in, I'm enjoying it. It is a bit of a longer book, I have to say, but yeah, I'm curious to see how it's gonna go, so stay tuned. Hey there, I'm just checking in to let you know how far I've come with Twisted Games and my progress with Twisted Love because I already finished Twisted Games yesterday, and I have to say that I also gave it 4 stars. It was enjoyable, and I'm not sure whether I liked the first book or the second book more, to be honest. Both of them had different things going for them. I do have to say that the first book had the brother's best friend trope, which I'm not a fan of, while the second book has the bodyguard trope and forbidden taboo relationship, which I do like more. So I think that I'm inclined to say that Twisted Games was better for me, at least as a reader, according to my preferences. Last time that I updated you, we left off at the 20% mark where Bridget and Reese were both getting aware of the fact that they have a mutual attraction for each other, and the fact that for Reese we have a taboo romance because he is her bodyguard, so she is his client. It's not a good idea for him to get involved with her, while for Bridget the taboo part comes from the fact that she's a princess and she's supposed to get married, or she's actually going to be queen, and she's supposed to get married someone from a specific type of upcoming. Yeah, both of them basically know that their relationship is doomed, but both of them know that they have an attraction that they can no longer fight. After certain situations occur, basically Bridget's brother abdicates from his position as king, so she needs to follow up in his footsteps and become queen. And in the meantime, she finds out that she needs to move back quite quickly because her grandfather has health issues, meaning that Reese will probably need to finish off his contract with her because he is no longer going to be needed to protect her, because she's no longer going to be in the States, and she will have her own royal guard when she goes back home. They decide before their agreement is finished, or their contract is finished, that she has this bucket list that she wants to complete. He takes her to Costa Rica where nobody knows her, so she can have some experiences of her own, things, just things to do that she cannot do on a regular basis because of her status and title. So they do that. They go to Costa Rica. She has an amazing 4 days, and also they have their first romantic encounter. They both know that the type of feelings that they have, or the type of attraction that they have, is very rare. But both of them, or actually it's more Reese, he wants to distance himself from Bridget because he knows that it's not going to end well. So when Bridget offers him that he goes with her to her country to continue working for her, he originally declines. But then a couple of weeks in, he finds out that he really can't live without her, and he will take her in any kind of way that he can. So he kind of calls in a favor with his boss, Christian, to try and beg for a position as her security guard again. She accepts, so he goes to her country, I don't know what the name is, and they sneak around a lot, and they're not very careful, which results in them being exposed to the public. And this becomes a problem for Bridget because, again, she's supposed to get married to someone from a specific upbringing. He needs to be of royal decree or something like that. And because this gets leaked, Bridget believes that this has an impact on her grandfather's health. So because she has a lot of guilt with what has happened with her family in the past, her mother died at childbirth, her father went to get her something from a store and got into a car accident, her grandfather had a heart attack when he found out that she has a relationship with Reese, so she kind of carries a lot of guilt with her. So she decides that it's best that she stops being selfish, as she calls it, and breaks it off with Reese and just follows the rules as it's supposed to be. So she's not going to be happy, but at least she'll fulfill her duty. This is how she feels. But both Reese and herself, after she kind of lets the news sink in, start to work towards finding a solution to their problem, and they eventually do. She finds out that he's actually the son of the Speaker of the House at their country, which I kind of predicted already quite early on when he said that he hates her country because he knows that his father is from that country, but his father kind of left his mother without supporting her. I knew that it's going to be someone from like a high position there, and this is going to be their saving grace. So this kind of is something that impacted my reading, and this is one of the things that happens. And then the second thing is Bridget finds out that she can change the law that requires her to marry someone from certain stature by involving public opinion, and she kind of also enlists Alex Volkov from the first book, his help to get some dirt on everyone at the parliament so she can kind of pressure them to vote in her favor, which they do. So basically she overturns this law so that she can marry whoever she wants. This is how they get their happy ending. And yeah, I like the book. I did like it, but there were certain things that I didn't it kind of irked me, like the thing with the prediction that he's going to be someone important from that country, that his father is going to be someone important. The second thing is also that I don't know, in the first book I got the impression that Bridget is going to be more badass, and in this book, maybe because it's the bodyguard and guarded person trope, we have more situations where Bridget is in a situation where Reese needs to show his protective side over her. While I do love his protectiveness, she was really more. I wanted her to be more badass. Maybe that's the thing that kind of bothered me. And what more? What more? I did appreciate, this is something that I do want to mention, I do appreciate that the development of their relationship spun over years. So I'm not a fan of insta-love, and I'm not a fan of relationships developing in a very short amount of time. We really got a progression of them being attracted to each other already from the start, but because of his behavior towards her, she kind of hated him in the beginning, and then they evolved to more friendly kind of relationship, and then eventually the attraction went over and they started to have also sexual encounters, and then eventually real feelings were really blossoming between them. So everything was very gradual, so I really appreciated that within the book. While it was a bit on the longer side, I do understand why it was done that way. It really lets you appreciate their build up towards their happy end. So I liked it. I gave it 4 stars. It's definitely worth the read. And now I'm on to the third book. Now let me just tell you something. I thought that there were 3 books, and there's 4 books. I am on the third book, which is Twisted Hate. And there's also Twisted Lies, which came out on the 30th of June, but apparently there is no audiobook for it yet, which kind of sucks because I wanted to binge the full series, but I'm not going to be able to do that because I'm going to be waiting for the audiobook for Twisted Lies to come out. I'm not going to read it in a physical form or ebook form. So I'm gonna get stuck after this one. Anyway, I don't know how many percent in, maybe 10% into Twisted Hate. And I think I'm going to love this one the most because we have a very vivid enemies situation already from the start, where Jules and Josh, Jules is Ava's best friend, Ava from the first book, and then Josh is her brother. So here we have a sister's, I'm messing it up. Sister's best friend situation, where so her brother will he'll have a relationship development with her best friend. I love the fact that he calls her Jessica Rabbit. I know that she hates it, but it's just cute. I love that they have this animosity, but with a very nice banter. So they're mean to each other, but mean in a cool way. I don't know how to explain it, but it really works for me. I really get intrigued by this type of banter, and I want to read more and more. So I'm very intrigued by how their relationship is gonna go. And we're at the point in the book where Ava and Alex have invited them to go to this kind of a skiing chateau somewhere, and they've agreed because Josh wants to go on a triple diamond black slope skiing adventure, while Jules, I don't know what the reason was for Jules to agree, but because she felt guilty because it was Ava's birthday and she couldn't say no to her, so she kind of felt guilted into the trip. So the four of them went on to this trip, but unfortunately the presidential suite where they would have separate rooms was double booked. So they gave them a smaller suite where they would have 2 bedrooms. And obviously we get the 1 bed situation for Jules and Josh, so they need to share 1 bed. So this is going to be interesting how they're going to cope with that situation. And yeah, I'm really the most intrigued by this one, to be very honest. So the whole hype around this series, I think is going to be worth it if this book really turns out to be what I expected to be. The first 2 books were all right. I enjoyed them. They were not wow reads for me, but this one I really have high hopes for, and I really hope that it's going to meet my expectations. It is the longest out of the 3. It's 15 hours, the audiobook, which I cannot believe it. I mean, I think that mostly fantasy books are this long, but let's just see how it goes. I hope that I'm going to enjoy it, and I'll update you soon. Hey you guys, I just figured out that I hadn't yet updated you on my progress with Twisted Hate, and I really need to do so because then I can finish off this vlog and post it on my channel. Thing is, I'm not going to be reading Twisted Lies for this vlog because it just recently came out in a physical copy format, and I'm not sure that the audiobook is out yet, and I really want to pick up the audiobook for this one, so I'm going to wait it out. I am curious to read it because I'm intrigued by what's going to happen with Christian and Stella in the next book. But again, I really want to pick up the audiobook, so I'm going to leave this vlog off with the 3 books that I just finished. I did finish Twisted Hate, and in the previous part of the vlog, I kind of predicted for myself that this is probably going to be my favorite book out of the 3 that I finished, and I was correct. This book by far was really my favorite out of 3. Twisted Hate really did things in a way that really worked for me. We have a genuine hate to love relationship twist, or enemies to lovers, I wanted to say, where the author really took her time to build up the relationship between the 2 characters, where we really see that in the beginning they really have a hateful relationship with each other. They have a very specific type of banter with each other. They are making these jabs towards each other every time that they see each other, and you really feel that there is no lost love between those 2. And then with the progression of the book and the types of proximity that they're forced to have because of specific events within the book, they kind of get to know each other in other lights, and I appreciated the growth of the characters, and really the fact that they kind of acknowledged the fact that their assumptions about what they thought of each other were made up when they met each other quite a while ago, and they really needed to get over that and to really figure out who they have become as people, and to really accept and acknowledge that who they have become as people does not equal who they thought they were of each other. So eventually really that equals the fact that they actually do like each other, if that makes sense. But anyway, I really appreciated that. Really, the fact that the audiobook was 15 hours, I was like, why is this book so long? It's a romance, it shouldn't be this long. But really, the fact that it was so long was really its advantage. The fact that we really got to know the backstory for both of the characters. Both of the characters had very specific things happen to them in the past which shaped them to be who they were. So that really made the difference for both of them. And the last time I updated you, we left off with the fact that Jules and Josh needed to share a bed on their retreat in Vermont, the skiing retreat. And that specific trip that they made was just so special for both of them, I think, because Josh really kind of took the time to break his own prejudice towards Jules. First off, he went there with the intention to ski the triple black diamond slope. But then when he found out that Jules was going to be taking lessons with a stranger, he offered his own services to teach her to ski, which I found absolutely adorable. And him missing out on doing what he wanted just to kind of take the time and spend some time with her to teach her something was just absolutely amazing. And she also kind of appreciated that, the fact that he was willing to do that. And additionally, we have a caretaking scene at this trip, which absolutely melted my heart. I think that every single woman on earth who reads this scene would want her husband, partner, boyfriend, or someone close to her to be as sweet as Josh was towards Jules when he was taking care of her in that hotel. So he kind of won me over there. I mean, this is already like 20-25% within the book, and I was already sold. I wanted her to worship him just as he was worshiping her, and yeah, I was already sold when it comes to Josh. And then the fact that Jules is really a tough cookie, she is really a badass female who, from early on, because of the situation that she came from, so the home life that she came from, she really needed to be the tough woman that she had become. And Josh finding out slowly but surely things that were happening in her past really made the difference for him appreciating why she has such a tough exterior, and really little by little breaking down her walls. We find out that Jules, her mother, was this kind of a beauty queen pageant type of woman who was really into looking her best, and she basically valued her beauty more than putting food on the table and taking care of her daughter. And eventually she did strike gold with meeting her second, or I don't know, second or third husband, Alistair, I think his name was. And this guy, he was a creep. He kind of took a liking more to Jules than the mother. And her mother got jealous and kind of didn't believe Jules over her new husband when it came to a specific situation where the stepfather wanted to take advantage of Jules. So Jules basically decided that she needed to leave this environment, so she ran away from home when she was, I think, 17, where she met her then boyfriend Max, who kind of exploited the situation because she knew that this Alistair guy, he was very rich. So they went on, he convinced Jules to go ahead and steal some things from her stepfather, and Max was imprisoned for this. Jules ran away with the money that they stole, and this is how she basically was able to create a new life for herself. She also chose a new last name, so she was completely kind of wiping the slate clean from her past. Unfortunately for Jules, Max gets out of prison when the story with Josh starts, and he starts to blackmail her because he has a sex tape of hers that he can release and kind of ruin her future, because she's trying to become a lawyer at this prestigious firm, and she knows that if a sex tape were to release, she would lose her chance on having a bright future. And she's absolutely petrified also by people finding out that she has stolen in the past from her own family. This is Jules's backstory. Josh, on the other hand, we find out obviously from the last books that he has problems with his father because his father tried to kill his sister from book 1, Ava, and he's now in prison. We find out that his father is still sending him letters, and he's still wanting to meet Josh, and Josh is kind of on the fence whether he should do that or not. He also has kind of a guilty conscience about how his mother had passed away. He's very still overprotective over Ava, and he's still kind of trying to get over the betrayal that Alex had within their friendship. And this is something that they've been working through within this book, which I absolutely loved. So slowly but surely, Josh, with the help of Jules, starts to forgive Alex and to try to get back to a place where they can still have a friendship with each other, which I absolutely loved. And yeah, so Jules and Josh, they sneak around. When they give in to their attraction, they start to sneak around. Also during the wedding of Bridget, they sneak around and Ava almost catches them, but they still continue on with their shenanigans. And yeah, basically both of them really want to have a relationship with each other at some point when the book progresses, and they're both really finding out that they're falling for each other. But the problem is that Max, Jules's ex-boyfriend, is blackmailing her into stealing a painting from Josh because it's worth a lot of money. And the only kind of condition that Josh has towards Jules is that she doesn't lie to him, because he's been lied to before by his father and by his best friend. And unfortunately, this situation kind of forces her to lie to him. And this is where the struggle comes in within the book, because she needs to steal this painting and lie to him. This eventually leads to them breaking up, because she confesses that she stole the painting from him, and he was like, I don't even care about the painting, I can't care about the fact that you decided to lie to me and not to come forward with your problem so I can help you. And when they break up, they are miserable without each other. And fortunately for Josh, Alex is the one who gives him the advice that even though she did lie to him, she eventually came forward and confessed what she did. So he should really take that into consideration, that had she not had strong feelings for him, she never would have confessed to what she did. Fortunately, Alex comes through with this information and really persuades Josh that this is something that he will regret if he doesn't forgive her. So yeah, basically Josh starts to grovel back to Jules to try to get her back. And yeah, eventually they do get together. Basically, this is how the book progresses. And yeah, I just absolutely love this book because we really have a very long progression of them hating each other in the beginning, kind of having fun banter together, developing these sexual attraction feelings towards each other, and then really starting to get to know each other once they form this enemies with benefits situation, and eventually falling for each other. I absolutely loved the fact, again, that both of them had their own story within the book, and then both of them helped each other to resolve their situations. Jules helping Josh to get over the problems that he has with Alex, and Josh helping Jules with her past, the fact that her mother passed away, by the way, and she needed to go and bury her, and he went on to help her with the burial. The fact that he helped her with Max eventually. Everything, basically, just everything worked out perfectly within this book. It's an absolute full 5-star read for me, and I think that even though I'm very intrigued by, oh my god, I'm sweating, sorry. Even though Christian and Stella are a mysterious kind of couple for me, from what I'm gathering from this book, and I'm intrigued by what their story is going to be, I think that, at least I'm predicting, that this book is going to remain my favorite. Please let me know what you think about these books if you've read them. I will be posting this video stating that it's a spoiler-filled vlog, because I really cannot make it spoiler-free. And also recommend to me any series that you think that I'm going to like based off of this one. I love doing this vlog, even though I wasn't very diligent with keeping up with updating you. I hope that you enjoyed this video as well. I'll be trying to vlog more so I get used to it more, so I get better at it as well. I hope to see you very soon in the next one. Happy reading, take care, and bye-bye.